Hello my beautiful boring people, my name is Victoria Mendez and I just bought my first bookshelf and put it together. So this probably isn't going to be the final form for this bookshelf because I do intend to get more books as I read stuff from the library, which is this stuff up here. These are ones that I've finished. These are my TBR currently, and actually I still have a book on hold that should go right in here because I need the 10th volume before I can read the 11th volume. Dear person who checked it out from the library and is over a week late, please return your books. Okay, so enough ranting about that. Next I have my cookbook shelf, followed by a few spare odds and ends because your girl didn't have enough books to fill out the cookbook shelf by itself, and these kind of fit perfectly there right now. But basically I have some of my most intimidating cookbooks over here that are not for beginners. This is one of my favorites, but it's kind of like some of the stuff in it is really easy and it's really well written and easy to follow, but I thought it belonged more towards the harder end of the spectrum. Then we have my tea time cookbooks, which are some of my favorites to cook out of. And then we have my weird assortment of older cookbooks, which are kind of hilarious because, I mean, they're old and weird and they have weird recipes in them and I'm excited to try them. And then we have some easy basics cookbooks that I grab from time to time to get like pancakes and quick breads and just really basic information out of. And then we have two very well-written cookbooks that are some of my favorites by the Barefoot Contessa, or Ina Garten, or Ina Garten. I'm not really sure how to say her name right now. But these are some of my favorite cookbooks. Very well written, very easy to follow. And then we have the Cooking Essentials cookbook, which is a very basics beginner cookbook. Hold your hand, shows you most of what to do on how to cook things, which my husband is learning to cook out of because sometimes I can't make all our meals and I'm like, hey, go grab this cookbook because it's basic enough that you're going to be able to understand it, and it has picture walkthroughs and everything for you. And then I have a couple of folders of compiled recipes. This one's kind of my random ones that I print out and that I like to use, and then this one I actually just finished printing out. It's my collection of all things Thanksgiving recipe related, and I'm excited to use that this year. And then of course we have my handwritten recipe card collection in this box. And then these are just some miscellaneous books that are filling out the rest of this shelf for now. And then down here we have one of my books from, I think I have it from 7th grade. I just couldn't get rid of it. It's a really pretty book. And who doesn't like Greek myths, right? And then we have my Korean collection and my one economics book that's all the way down here. Get my leg out of the way. But basically, This is a really basic introduction to macroeconomics. And then, like, these are all books that I had in college. I minored in Korean language and culture, and I do plan on rereading some of these someday. And then this is a sewing book that didn't fit to go out this way because it came out too far. This, of course, is a knitting book, so this is kind of my how-to shelf slash college books slash educational purposes shelf. And then we have my daily planner and some sheet music and I don't know what to call these. This one's a collection of recipes from somewhere where I used to work. And then these two, one of them's from undergrad that has a lot of Korean material in it. And then this one I think is actually just an empty spare, and I figured, why not stick it there? That way it evens out the row. So that's my books currently that I have in physical copy. I could do a digital copy walkthrough as well because I have several digital books because, I mean, I didn't decide to start collecting books again until the last month or so because I was moving so often and it just got really to be a pain in the butt to move a bunch of books. And now I feel like I'm fairly stable, and my husband and I decided that next time we move we're hiring movers, so I'll have someone to haul my books for me once I put them in boxes, so I'm not as concerned about collecting them anymore because it's not going to be a pain in the butt for me to physically move them all by myself. Now for a reading vlog. Just kidding, I forgot to talk about this top shelf. So this was a wedding gift from a family member, and it's originally from West Germany. And when my husband comes home and he has a bunch of stuff in his pockets, this is where the stuff in the pockets go. And then he's supposed to fold up his clothes, whether they be his nighttime clothes, which I have currently folded here, or when he switches from his daytime to his nighttime clothes, then he can fold them up and put them on the edge over here. And then I have my water bottle and a coaster under there, and then I don't know if you guys have ever seen these before, but it is an alarm clock which lights up like really bright. It's supposed to be like natural light almost, and it does help wake me up in the morning because I hate getting up in the dark in the winter, and this solves that problem. So, I don't know why, but I've already read over 10,000 pages this month, but I'm getting extremely intimidated by this book for some reason. I think it's just because it's nearly 700 pages just on its own instead of a lot of shorter books. So I just kind of put some place markers in here to give me goals to reach each day, and if I pass those goals, great, but now it feels much more doable. Hey look, I kind of look like a booktuber now because I have a bookcase to sit in front of while I talk. Anyways, I am 110 pages into The Name of the Wind, and I am really enjoying it. We have a story being told both in third and first person to a degree, because for the story to be told, it's being told in first person as another person is a scribe and is writing down the story, and you're kind of jumping back and forth in between what's currently happening and what happened in the main character's past, which I think is a really interesting way to tell the story, and it's done quite well, I think. I'm ahead of my goal, so that's good, and I am thoroughly amused by some of the quotes in this book so far, and there are just so many times that, how do I describe this? So basically our main character, Kvoth, is, I think that's how you say his name, I don't know, I'm gonna have to look it up. Anyways, main character is in the middle of growing up, and he's being taught life lessons, and those life lessons are really good. And the way that he's being taught those lessons is also very good, and it's really nice to see that, because you're being taught, you know, hey, don't gossip about somebody. If you're gonna say something mean, at least say it to their face, but don't say it behind their back. You know, one's just kind of awful and the other one's just always gossip, but that's never good. Stuff like that. And there is an underlying sense of dry humor throughout this book, which I highly enjoy. So that's my first thoughts on The Name of the Wind. Do you ever have those moments where you don't want to actually like get dressed into going out clothes, but you want to throw on some lipstick and mascara and a little bit of jewelry, but you still want to be super comfy? Because I'm doing that right now. Let me know in the comments below if you do that too, because I feel a little weird, but also I kind of love it. It's like I'm getting ready for me and being super comfy while I'm at it. Hello again, my beautiful boring people. It's a couple days later and I've finally finished The Name of the Wind. My overall thoughts are that I like it, and I'm giving it 4.5 stars because it is an epic fantasy, meaning it is ridiculously long and slow going, but we're getting a crap ton of details about Kvothe's younger life in this book. So basically we follow him from childhood, when he learns about the magics of the world, to, I would still say childhood. We're following him into his teen years, and he's at university, and we leave off this story with him still being at university in his epic life story. And it's pretty interesting. The only reason I'm not giving it 5 stars is because sometimes it gets really repetitive, and oh my god, you're gonna open the door onto my butt. Hi.
Hi.
Where was I? Anyways, we're following Kvothe during his life, and he's still at university and he's learning stuff, and he's retelling this all to a scribe who came to get the real story, because the Kvothe stories that are going around the world currently are ridiculous. I'm giving it 4.5 stars. The only reason I'm not giving it 5 is because it gets really repetitive in some places. And I can understand repeating things 2 or 3 times, but not more than that, because I get it, and I get that Patrick's trying to show that Kvothe is really poor and that's really grating on him and that's a huge impact to his life. But, you know, after hearing it so often, it gets to be a little superfluous. I know he's poor. I understand that. I understand that his life is hard because he's poor. Stop telling me that he's poor, please. I get it. I really do. But I did really enjoy the story. It was a little difficult for me to get into at first. I would say like the first 60 or so pages was a little bit difficult for me to hop into, just because I wasn't quite in the mood for an epic fantasy. But once I did, I was really engrossed in it. It takes a really long time to tell this story, and in some places it's kind of slow, in which case I definitely sped read those passages. There's not a whole lot of action going on. There's bits and pieces of action for sure, but it's not action-packed. Here's what Kvothe's doing. Oh my god, there's a dragon. Oh my god, what's he gonna do? Like, I mean, it's a long story. It's not action-packed, but I still really enjoyed it because I'm getting to know my main character's life and everything about him and what's going on in the world and how he's discovering the things that he doesn't know about the world, which I greatly appreciate, because a lot of the books that are fantasy that I have problems with, they just tell the story of the main character, which is fine, and that's definitely what's happening here as well, but there's not always a whole lot of world dev, or there are things that the main character just automatically understands that I don't, because I don't live in this world and I don't understand what's going on. And the main character isn't telling me exactly what's going on. But in this case, we're discovering what's going on in the world alongside our main character, and I greatly appreciate that. I'm gonna go back to the library now to get some more books, because these are going back. I'm hoping whoever has volume 10 will finally return it so that I can read volumes 10 and 11. And this just came the other day, and I'm not sure when I'm gonna get around to reading it. I guess it'll just depend on what I'm in the mood for, but I have a lot of books checked out from the library right now, so I feel like I should get through those before I move on to my next book, which I own because my owned books don't have a return date. But oh my gosh, look at it. It's so shiny. I like shiny. I am very easily distracted by the shiny, and I'm really excited to read this. I hope you enjoyed this vlog. I'll see you in the next video. Okay, bye!